Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nidinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Bhashya Dadeshadarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So we are continuing our discussion from last few sessions we have been discussing about the Narasimha Katha from Prahlad Maharaj, teachings of Prahlad Maharaj, the appearance of Narasimha from the seventh canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So there's a lot of wonderful teachings and lessons from the prayers by Prahlad Maharaj, and some of the important verses that Srila Prabhupada keep quoting a lot, and they're very, very important verses. So we thought of taking something from the seventh canto, and which is, as very famously many of you know, called the Navadha Bhakti, and we'll be reading and discussing from the teachings of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder of this worldwide Hare Krishna movement, and very kindly and mercifully Prabhupada has given us all this wonderful literature that we can go on reading and keep learning a lot. So we'll try to just take some important lessons and understanding from these verses. So we'll be discussing about this Navadha Bhakti. So already those who attended the previous sessions, you might be knowing the context of that, where it is coming, but just to give a quick context about this Navadha Bhakti. So we know that how when Prahlad goes to school, and one time when he returned back from school and his father was asking that, my dear boy, what did you learn in your school? And then he quoted the words, Tat sadhu manya survarya dehinam. And then Hiranyakashipu thought maybe somebody just, entered from the enemy camp into the school and, spoiling these kids. So then he warned the teachers that you should be a little extra cautious. That so nobody should come from outside and spoil these kids by teaching them about all this bhakti and all that. And then later the same thing happened, that again another vacation when Prahlad came from the school, and again the father asked the same question, that my dear, what did you learn in the school? And that is when this verse was quoted by Prahlad Maharaj, and that is very, very famous verse, as famous as Navadha Bhakti, the 9 different process of practicing devotional service or performing devotional service in 9 different ways, how one can do. Okay, so let us see that. So this is the verse. So I want all of you to please read after me. I will recite just maybe 2-3 times. It's a wonderful verse to memorize, to learn. So offline you can try to learn this, but we'll just chant it 1 or 2 times. Repeat after me, and those who are online, you can repeat on mute. Shri Prahlada Vacha Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smarnam Bhada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dashyam Sakhyam Atmanevedanam Iti Bumsarpita Vishnu Bhakti Chennavalakshana Kriyate Bhagavati Yadha Tanmanye Aditamuttamam. Shri Prahlada Uvacha Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smarnam Bhada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dashyam Sakhyam Atmanevedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhakti Chennavalakshana Kriyeta Bhagavati Yadha Tanmanye Aditamuttamam. So we'll chant one more time. Shri Prahlada Vacha Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smarnam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasham Sakyam Atmana Vedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhakti Chenava Lakshana Kriyatha Bhagavati Yadha Tanmanye Adhitamuttamam. So I'll read the translation by Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Prahlad Maharaj said, hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes of Lord Vishnu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming his servant, sorry, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto him. In other words, serving him with the body, mind, and words. These 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service. One who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these 9 methods should be understood to be the most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge. So these are the 9 different items of Navadha Bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dashyam, Sakyam, and Atma Nivedanam. So we'll be discussing in detail. We'll try to cover it. So before that, I wanted to give you some reference that this is not only the Srimad Bhagavatam which talks about Navadha Bhakti, but even the Chaitanya Charitamrita also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quoted about the Navadha Bhakti. So he explains, it is in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Antalila, in the 4th chapter in text number 70, he says, Bhajanera Madhya Shrestha Navabhida Bhakti Krishna Prema Krishna Dite Dhare Mahashakti. Among the ways of executing devotional service, the 9 prescribed methods are the best. For these processes have great potential to deliver Krishna an ecstatic love for him. So this is the power of this Navadha Bhakti. Bhajanera Madhya Shrestha. The different varieties of different ways of doing the bhajan, doing the seva to the Lord. But among all the varieties of the bhajan, the best is, the shrestha is Navabhida Bhakti. This Navadha Bhakti is considered the topmost. Because if somebody practices this Navadha Bhakti, then it can deliver one Krishna Prem. It offers Krishna Prem, and that is the goal of practicing any kind of spiritual activity, any kind of devotional activity. Krishna Prema, Krishna Dite, Dhare Mahashakti. It is so powerful that it can give you Krishna himself. So that is the power of this Navadha Bhakti. So this is one more reference found in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then I found one more reference, which is basically from the Vaishnava songs, the songs which is composed by the Vaishnava Acharyas. So one of the Acharya, he is a very famous song like in our tradition. And this song goes like this. Bhaja Hureman Sri Nandanandana Abhaya Charana Arabindane. So like that. So in that, it is quoted towards the end. Shramana Kirtana Smarana Vandana Ada Sevana Dashire Pujan Sakhi Jana Atman Vedana Govinda Dasa Abhilashire. So this Govindas, one of the Vaishnava saint, he writes this, he aspired this. Shravana Kirtana Smarana Vandana Pada Sevana Dashira, the same thing. Pujana Sakhijana Atma Nivedana. So Govindas is basically aspiring that. That is the Abhilasha. That is the desire, the expectation of this devotee. So this is also another reference that we find here. Now, we talk about all these 9 items, and interestingly, Prabhupada explains that not necessarily that one has to practice all the 9 items. Every single item is potential enough to deliver you Krishna. So if you don't know like how to practice all the 9 items of the Navadha Bhakti, and you might think, oh no, this is difficult, that is difficult. Pick one, whatever works for you. and seriously and sincerely start practicing this one item, and that can deliver. And it's not like some kind of exaggeration that we are commenting on something like that, but there are examples of many devotees from the Bhagavatam who has perfected their life by just practicing one particular item. And that verse is again quoted here. It is quoted in the Bhagavatam also, like it is a reference from some other scriptures, but then it is quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Shri Vishnu Sravane Parikshidavabat Vaya Sakhi Kirtane Prahlada Smarane Tadangri Bhajane Lakshmi Pratu Pujane Akrurastu Vibandane Kapipatir Dashe Yada Sakhe Arjuna Sarvasmatma Nivedane Balir Abod Krishna Patiresha Para. So here the 9 devotees have been mentioned in this verse. Those who have perfected their life by practicing one item. Sri Vishnu Shravane Parikshit. So the example, the Acharya of one of the item which is called Shravana. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. So we'll talk one by one. So who perfected their life by Shravan, by just hearing, attentively hearing. And that example is Parikshit Maharaj. He perfected his life just by attentively hearing about Krishna. That is example. Then Vayasakihi Kirtane. Vayasaki, who is the Vayasaki? The son of Vyasadeva, Vayasaki. Who's that? Shukadeva Goswami. So Shukadeva Goswami perfected his life by Kirtane. Kirtan means glorifying the Lord, talking about the Lord. So we know that Bhagavatam is the conversation between Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. So Shukadeva Goswami got perfected his life by talking about Krishna, by speaking Bhagavatam, and Parikshit Maharaj got perfected by hearing Bhagavatam, Shravan and Kirtan. And then Prahlad Maharaj, we already discussed a lot about Prahlad Maharaj, that how he could not even for a moment forget about the Lord in any kind of no circumstance could force him to forget about the Lord. So much of torture by his father, he was attempted to even being killed, but still he did not forget. So he is the Acharya, or is the example of Smaran, constantly remembering the Lord in all kind of circumstances and situations. So Prahlad Maharaj is the example of Smaran. And then Pada Sevanam. So Lakshmi ji, we know that how Lakshmi Narayan, Lakshmi ji is always sitting at the lotus feet of the Lord, and she is always serving the feet of the Lord, and she is the example of serving the lotus feet, Pada Sevanam. And then this Pratu Maharaj, he is example of Archanam. And then Akrurji, he offers the beautiful prayers, and he becomes the example of Vandanam. And then Dashyam, Sakyam, who is the best Sakha of Krishna. Arjun became the best Sakha, that Lord even sold himself for his friendship and became his driver, a chariot driver. And then Arjuna, Sakyam, and Dashyam is Hanumanji is actually Kapi Patir. Hanumanji is the Kapi, and he is the example of Dashyam. And then Atmanivedanam is Bali Maharaj, who surrendered everything when Lord comes in the form of Vamanadev. So like that, this a lot of examples are there. So it gives us a lot of hope. Like sometimes people might feel overwhelmed. Oh, this is too much. 9 items. We're struggling. Just take one item, whatever. Easiest item, whatever you think that you not to do much. You sit and hear. That much everybody can do. Shravanam. But we'll talk about this Shravanam little more in detail. How to do the Shravanam. We all are doing Shravanam. We keep hearing a lot of sessions, a lot of lectures on online or offline in person. But still, sometimes we find like we are not getting the intended result. Something is missing out. So we'll talk about that also. Okay. So let us talk about this Shravanam now. How do we understand that Shravanam? What is Shravanam? So we'll go in detail. Before that, let me just explain this. Narad Muni explains in one of the verses that what is considered a good day. Like people, when people go to office, they come back and they say, how was the day? Say, it was a good day or it was not so good and all that. But as per the standard of Narad Muni, what is considered the good day? So Narad Muni says, Tad dinam durdinam manne, mega chadam durdinam. Krishna samlapam katha piyus varjitam. So he says, Tad dinam durdinam manne, mega chadam. Like sometimes you see that, the sky is very cloudy and gloomy, and people say, oh, it's not a good day and no sunrise for many days, something like that. So Narad Muni is saying that that is not considered as a bad day. What is considered as a bad day is, says, Yad dinam Krishna samlapam katha piyusha varjitam. The day when varjitam means restricted, or I could not get the chance to Krishna katha piyush. That Krishna katha, if I did not get the chance to hear, to do the Shravan about Krishna, I consider that day as a durdinam manne. I consider that day as a bad day. Everything else might have gone wonderfully, materially speaking. But if I did not get the chance to hear about Krishna, and that is considered the bad day. So this is how the scriptures explains the power and the potency of Shravanam, how it is so important. We are so much concerned about so many things. Oh, this should go, I should finish this, I should finish that. And then our last priority becomes, okay, if I get the time at the end of the day, we'll attend some 15-minute call, or I'll read maybe just 5 minutes something before I sleep. In the half sleeping state only, I'll read something and forget everything by the morning. But here, Narad Muni says, if you don't get the chance to hear every day, then it is considered a bad day. Now, why we should hear? Let us understand this a little bit more. Because this hearing is such a powerful thing. Because first of all, we should ask the question that why we should, in the first place, why we should even talk about all those things about a spiritual life. What is the end goal? What we are trying to achieve by going and attending some sessions, or by chanting or anything? What is the end result? What we are aspiring? Anybody? Godhead. Okay, so we are aspiring Krishna, going to Krishna or Krishna service and something like that, right? Or we call it Krishna Prem. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains that what is our desired goal, which is love for Krishna. And that is what is exactly the bhakti, or whatever way you put. But if we can develop some attraction, some devotion for the Lord, that is what is the desired goal. Now, there is an example in the Srimad Bhagavatam, a devotee who developed that unalloyed love without seeing Krishna, without doing anything, just by hearing about Krishna. Anybody knows who's the example? Famous example.
Rukmini.
Rukmini is the example. It is quoted there that Rukmini never saw Krishna, but she was the daughter of king of Vidarbha, and he was a very pious king, and he would engage a lot of brahmanas, devotees. They'll come in the palace and they'll talk about the Lord. So Rukmani got the opportunity to hear about Krishna. And just by hearing about Krishna, she developed so much of desire and love for Krishna that she decided, if I don't get Krishna, then my life is waste. Then she writes a letter, and that is the first ever love letter written by anyone. So Rukmani writes a letter to Krishna that I already decided that I should get married to you, and then you should come, and then you should kidnap me, because the marriage was fixed with somebody, Sheshubal. So then she write in the letter that please come. So that is the verse. It says, Shrutva Gunan Bhuvan Sundar. Says Shrutva Gunan Bhuvan Sundar Shranvathamte. By hearing about Shrutva Gunan, Guna, your qualities. Bhuvan Sundar. Bhuvan Sundar means, oh, beauty of the world. Like Krishna, you are so beautiful. Just by hearing about your beauty, Nirvashakarna Vivare Harthongathabam. The power of hearing about your beauty, about your characteristic is that all kinds of harato angatapam. That sometimes people are so agitated, and when you are angry, you are upset, you are disturbed, your body temperature also rises. Angatapam. So just by hearing about Krishna, it subsided all those kind of symptoms, that angatapam, all kinds of agitations. Oh, Bhuvan Sundar, oh, beauty of the world. When I heard about that, by whose hearing all the kinds of this agitation, disturbance get subsided. Rupam drisham drishamatam akilarthatardham. Tvai achyuta vishati chittam apatrapam me. She says, by hearing, I already gave up my heart to you. Now I'm so shamelessly writing this to you. Please come and kidnap me. So this is the power of hearing. That our desired goal is that we should develop some love, some devotion for Krishna. And here is an example that someone just by doing this Shravanam, one of the item of Navadha Bhakti, just by hearing that somebody developed, there's a lot of love for Krishna. To the extent that she decided if no Krishna, then no life. To that extent. Right. So it is very, very important that we should understand. And then Krishna also explains in the Bhagavad Gita, the famous verse, that we all come together in a devotee association or when people go to the temple. So we should understand from the scripture that what we should do in the temple. Temple is not just a mere a place of doing some rituals, that go do some rituals and come back. In fact, many times people go to some holy places, the pilgrimage places, Dham Yatra, right? And many times that Dham Yatra becomes some kind of a picnic. So it is not Dham Yatra, it becomes some different locations that you have covered. Unless one get the enough chance and opportunity to hear and talk about Krishna, then it is not considered Dham Yatra. Similarly, if somebody goes to the temple, somebody goes to some kind of devotee association, if there is no Krishna Katha, then there's no real benefit of going to such gatherings or such places. And that is what Krishna says, Machitta madgata prana bodhiyantasya parasparam katyantasya mam nityam tushyanti cha ramandija. Says when all the devotees, when they come together, then what they should do is, my devotees, what they do, Machitta madgata prana. Their chitta, their consciousness is completely given to me. They'll be fully absorbed in talking about, hearing about Krishna. Madagata prana. Their life is dedicated to me. Bodhyantasya parasparam. Bodhyanta means coming together and talking. Katyantasya mam nityam. They do the katha. What katha? Not Gramya katha. What is Gramya katha? All these worldly talks, politics, sports, Hollywood, Bollywood, India politics, who's coming on 4th June, and all of that. So many things that you can talk, right? Not that katha. But he's saying Katyantasya mam nityam. My katha they do. And when they do, once in a while, nityam. And by doing that, the katha, pushyanti cha ramanti cha, they derive a lot of satisfaction and a lot of pleasure. So that is what it is. So if we don't understand these principles carefully, we might have read all this Bhagavad Gita, these verses many times. But if we don't sufficiently contemplate and meditate, and we continue to do what we have been doing, then despite going to temple, this kind of sessions, this kind of gatherings, still we might be into our own worldly, style, and then agitation and disturbance, and people are not happy. But Krishna gives the promise. If you do this Katyantasya Mam Nityam, result will be Tushyanti cha Ramanti cha. You'll be completely satisfied. You will derive a lot of pleasure, Ramanti cha. So that is the power of this Shravanam. So one should do this Shravanam. Right. So one time, actually, it's a nice pastime. And we see the mood of all these great Acharya, the saintly people. So one time, this Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, who is the spiritual master of Prabhupada, so he was conducting a discourse. He was talking. They went to a temple to visit a temple with some of his disciples. And when they reached there, their darshan was still closed. So they sat down there and he started talking some Krishna Katha. So some of the people, the sitting disciples and devotees. And while he was talking all this Krishna Katha, and they heard that conch is blown and darshan is open. So as soon as darshan was open, some of them from the back, they got up, they said darshan is open, let us just go and quickly have some darshan. So they go and have darshan. And while Katha is going on, some of them were still sitting there. And they came back after darshan. And then when they came back, and then Bhakti Thakur Maharaj asked them, they came and sat, and he says, how was your eye exercise? And that is what, it was very strong and harsh. And they're taken aback, like, what, why are you calling it like eye exercise? So if you don't hear sufficiently about the Lord and simply just go like that, it is just mere eye exercise. You cannot understand about the Lord by seeing the Lord. Right? Many people saw when Krishna was there in the battlefield, Arjuna also saw, and Duryodhana also saw Krishna. But could Duryodhana see that Krishna is Bhagwan or something? He never understood. So you cannot understand seeing God just like that. If God comes in front of you, you might mistake, right? So these are all kinds of examples. And then actually later, Prabhupada actually was recommended by one of the, Prabhupada was still in his household life, Grasta life. And then he was doing his business, Prayag Pharmacy in Allahabad in those days. And he was already associated with this Gaudiya Math, Bhakti Thakur Maharaj. And then he was very, very sincere practitioner, and he was contributing in so many ways, also giving funds, because Prabhupada was still doing some business, making money and all that. So everybody was so impressed by, Prabhupada's name was Abhay Babu at that time. Abhay Charan was his name. They used to call him Abhay Babu. So then one time when Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Maharaj visited, and they thought that we should introduce this Abhay Babu to our Guru Maharaj. And this is that Guru Maharaj, he is Abhay Babu. Very nice devotee and very sincere. He is helping us a lot here to, expand our temple and preaching program. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur Maharaj said, I know him. He's a very nice devotee. And they were taken aback, like, how like we are introducing him first time. But now there is a history that how Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur Maharaj knew Prabhupada before they introduced. So one time during Kartik, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur Maharaj used to conduct this Braj Mandal Parikrama. And the thousands of devotees, they will go and they'll go to different places. They'll have like whole day packed up schedule. Then this time to this time, they'll go for, visiting the different temples and all that. And then Bhaktivedanta Thakur Maharaj, he will do a lot of katha. 3 hours, like he'll be talking about Krishna and Bhagavatam and all of that. And people has to listen. And sometime he will, exceed the time limit. He said, as per the schedule, it should be like 2 hours, but he continues to talk. And then they'll make an announcement that, Guru Maharaj is still talking, but those who want to go and visit and have some darshan, you can just proceed like that. So one time when it was happening, and then they were all sitting, and there was an announcement that Guru Maharaj will be talking some Krishna Katha, but those who want to go for darshan, they can go. So most of them, they got up and they went, except few very close and very senior disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur Maharaj and Prabhupada, who was still not an initiated devotee, who was very new to Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur Maharaj, still a householder, like a Grasta businessman, and nobody knew that who is this person. And he was sitting at the back of the room, and he's sitting, and then he was hearing very attentively. So now coming back to our story in Allahabad, when he said that, I know him, and then he actually quoted that I know him, that is a very good listener. He likes to listen. He never goes away. So that quality of Srila Prabhupada of hearing very attentively was noticed by his Guru Maharaj. So that is the quality. When Krishna Katha is happening, in general, like people say, oh, this thing, that thing, so many things might be going, and they'll be waiting when it will get end. But the real devotee is, he will be very eager to hear more and more Krishna Katha. That is the nature of Krishna Katha, the Shravanam. If that quality of Shravanam is there, then one will naturally have that taste for the Shravanam, right? And that was noted by Bhaktivinoda Thakur Maharaj, and he mentioned that, right? So like that, many examples. In fact, we see in the Bhagavad Gita also, what is Bhagavad Gita is all about. Arjuna was confused in the beginning, and he says that I don't know like what to do. I'm completely confused. So Shishyasteham Shadimam Twam Prabhana. I'm surrendered to you now. I'm like a disciple, and please do. And what he did, Krishna started speaking Bhagavad Gita, and just for 45-minute conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. But Arjuna heard it with rapt attention. And after 45 minutes, all his confusion, all his doubts, all his bewilderment was wiped off. Nasta moha smritir labdhava tvat prasadat mechuta. That is what toward the end of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says. Nasta moha smritir labdhava. All my moha, all my illusion, and everything is completely gone. Tvat prasadat, by your mercy, O Krishna. So just by hearing, most confused person, nobody can have the difficult situation like Arjuna. But that situation was also resolved just by hearing with attention the Krishna Katha. So that is the power of this Krishna Katha. Now we might be thinking, oh, this is all nice to hear all this in the class. But when we have a real life situation, then what Krishna Katha will do? But this is actually a tested formula by many, many devotees. So it's not just a theory. And maybe you can also try sometime. When you really feel agitated for whatever reason, just tune into some nice Krishna Katha, whatever you like. Krishna Katha is always nice. And hear that. And you will feel. But hearing means sometimes what happens, we hear externally, but our mind is still thinking about all those things. That is not hearing. Real hearing you do. And you yourself will experience that you are very relaxed. Somehow that potency is there and you will experience that. So that is the power of this hearing, right? So we'll talk about in a few minutes, we'll talk about that different kind of hearers, the varieties of hearing, and those examples are given in the scriptures. I'll talk about that. But before that, I'll just quote some verses and understand the benefits and the power and the potency of Shravanam when somebody does that. So this is from the Gopi Geet. It's a beautiful song composed by, like, all the gopis are singing. So it talks about this, the Krishna Katha. So it goes like this. Taba katha amritam tapta jivanam kavividitam kalmasapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadatam Bhubigrananti ye Bhurida Jana. So all the gopis they're saying Tava Kathamratam, saying Krishna, your Katha is like Amrit, it's nectarian. And then for whom? Tapta Jivanam. Those who are life is like Tapta, they're suffering in this world. When somebody, like, say, for example, you are walking in the hot sun in the afternoon, in June or sometime, and too much of heat, your skin is burning and you're feeling that heat. And then sometime at that time somebody comes and applies some, say, sandalwood paste on you and gives like very cooling. Recently we applied for Narasimha to cool him down. So, and that on top of that somebody start to fan you, you'll feel so much of relieved. So this Krishna Katha is like that. For those who are tapta jivanam, suffering in this world, they're experiencing the heat of this material existence. For them, it is like an nectar. Tava kathamritam. And who is saying this? It is Kavi. All these great kavis, great learned scholars, they are sharing their experience. That is the nature of Krishna Katha. And it is also kalmashapaham. It actually removes all kinds of kaleshas, kalmash. Remove in the sense, not necessarily that it will solve your problem. And what it solves is that agitation, the disturbance, that anxiety because of that problem, that will be subsided so that you can think more peacefully, right? And also Krishna Katha is Shravana Mangalam. The Shravan process, the hearing about Krishna it is very, very auspicious. It is Mangalam. Srimadatham Bhubigranantiye Bhurida Jana. And those who are actually spreading this Krishna Katha, they are Bhurida Jana. They're all great souls, those who are spreading this. So this is like that. Many, many verses we can find in the Bhagavatam and various scriptures, but we have just selectively talking few of them. So this is also from the 11th canto, which says Paraspara Nukathanam Bhavanam Bhagavata Yasha Mitho Ratir Midhastuste Nivratir Atmana. So what happens? The same words like Bodhyantasya Parasparam Katyantasya Mam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. Similar words here. It says Parasparanukathanam. When Paraspar, you come together and you discuss about Krishna Katha, then it is very pavanam. It is very, very auspicious. And then Mitho Ratir Mithastustir Nivratir Mitha Atmana. So it brings a lot of mutual happiness, satisfaction, and then one will be able to give up the sense gratification. And Nivratir Mitha Atmana. Just by hearing Krishna Katha, you'll be happy, you'll be satisfied, you become free from all kinds of materialistic desires, which is otherwise very, very hard to give the desires. So develop the desire to hear about Krishna and start hearing about Krishna. Okay. And this is the famous words. Sharmadam Shakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridantasthoye Bhadrani Vidnoti Suhartha Sadham. So when somebody hears Krishna Katha, what happens? Hridantasthoye Bhadrani. Abhadrani means all kinds of inauspiciousness. Hirda antastha, inside the heart, lot of inauspiciousness. What is that inauspiciousness in the heart? What is inauspiciousness in the heart? Any kind of materialistic desire is considered very, very inauspicious, because that takes you away from Krishna, or anything which takes you away from Krishna is considered inauspicious. Anything which helps you to go closer to Krishna is considered auspicious. Now, sometimes people, everything is going so well, life is very prosperous, they're enjoying, and they forget Krishna. People think this is a good fortune, we got a lot of money, but it is not considered good fortune. It is an unfortunate situation, because when people, so much of opulence they have in their life, and that result in forgetting Krishna or going away from Krishna, then so-called opulence is considered inauspicious. On the contrary, if a lot of problems are there in life, a lot of challenging situations, which helps you to call out the Lord more intensely, those problems are considered as auspicious. So these are all different perspectives that we get from the scriptures. So this Ardantastoi Abhadrani, all kinds of inauspiciousness, just by hearing Punna Shravana Kirtana, it will be Vidunoti, it will be washed off, it will be cleansed off. So that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. When you hear about Krishna, Krishna's name, Krishna's pastime, Krishna's kirtan, first thing happens is our heart gets cleansed and purified. So that is also another benefit of this Krishna Gatha. And this is a beautiful verse from the Bhagavatam again. It says, it offers the benediction. Shanvata Shraddhaya Nityam Granatasya Swachestidam Kalena Nati Dirgena Bhagavan Vishate Hadi. So it says, Shanvata Shraddhaya Nityam. You hear, now here is a qualification. How to hear? Not just for the sake of hearing or tick mark or sir, not that hearing, but Shraddhaya, a lot of faith and devotion. And when to hear, not only once in a week, but a Nityam. We have to note each and every word very carefully. It should be Shraddhaya, it should be Nityam. And then not only just hearing, but Granatasya Swachestidam. You also apply that. Granatasya, you know. So taking that matter very seriously, not just hear and it's a very nice, and forget everything. So take it seriously, understand it, contemplate on it, try to implement it, practice it. Then what happens if you do this kind of hearing, this kind of Shravan, then Kalena Nati Dirgena. It doesn't take a long time. Dirg means like very long. Na Ati Dirgena. It doesn't take no time, and within no time, Bhagavan Vishate Hirdi. Bhagavan, Krishna himself, Vishate, will enter into your heart. So that is the power of Shravanam. Somebody hears Shravanam properly, as per what is mentioned here, then Krishna will enter in your heart. So how do we understand how Krishna will enter into our heart? Why Krishna is not entering and why he will enter? How do we explain this? Yes. So our heart currently is fully contaminated. If we have some means to, some X-ray that see that what color of heart, it will be like deep dark black with all kinds of materialistic desires and all contamination, lust, anger, greed, jealousy, everything, what not, everything is there. So Krishna doesn't like all the dirty place to come. So you have to cleanse the place for Krishna to invite. He comes in a clean place. So the process is this Shravana. So when you do Shravanam by chanting Krishna's name, you hear attentively Krishna Katha, or Shravanam also refers to actually reading the books, like Prabhupada books. When we read, you're basically hearing Prabhupada words, which is in the written format. So that is also considered as Shravanam. So when we do that, then heart becomes cleansed, purified. And then Krishna will come and steal that heart. Because Krishna is Makhan Chor. Right? So your heart, when it becomes like Makhan, like butter. Now, what is this butter like heart? It should be soft and white. So now it is hard and black. So we had to change it into very soft and white, like makhan, like butter. Then Krishna will, come running and say, I want this heart I want. So that is what it is said here. Kalena nati dirgena Bhagavan vishate hirdi. Krishna will enter into your heart. So now, how this Krishna Katha enters, that is the follow verse. Pravishta karna randrena swanam bhavasaroruham Dunoti Shamalam Krishna Salilasha Yatha Sharat. So he says this Krishna Katha, it enters, Pravishta means enters, Karnarandrena. It goes from here. So sometime our ears are like, actually Krishna has designed our ear that it is never blocked, but still it can be blocked. We are sitting here and thinking of something. Though externally speaking, they're open, but it is blocked. So it should enter through here. And then Dunoti Shamalam Krishna Salilasya. So then Krishna will enter. Actually, Krishna is such a loving friend. Like sometime, when you invite someone from your office or something, your house is so dirty. So apart from all other arrangements, the first thing is that house should be clean. Some guests are coming and all that. You had to do, because if people comes and they see that what kind of impression you leave. But Krishna is a different kind of a friend. If he comes and he sees your house is dirty, he'll say, like, I'll help you to clean your house. He's that intimate, close friend, right? So Krishna, when enters, he says, oh, it is so dirty, I don't like that. Okay, let me just clean. So he himself engages himself in cleaning the heart. So, but you should allow to enter him. So that entrance happens through Shravanam. So that is what he says. Pravishta Karnarandrena Dunoti Shamalam Krishna Salilasya Yathasarat. Like when there is a Sharat season, after the rains, then you see suddenly all the water bodies, they look so clean because of the fresh rain water and all that. So this is what happens when we do the Shravanam. We'll talk about that. What is the kind of Shravanam that we should be doing, and what kind of Shravanam we should not be doing. It is important to understand. Otherwise, it becomes like some kind of a ritualistic activity. And okay, we have to go for these sessions, hear something, and say, very nice, Prabhuji, very nice, very nice. What was nice that we don't remember, but it was very nice. Not that kind of hearing. We have to hear attentively. So basically, there's a different kind of hearers has been explained. Let me see that if I can pull it here. Okay, so there are 8 types of hear, different people, that 8 varieties, and they're compared to different varieties of the birds. Comparison is given. So first we'll talk about the good hearer, who's considered as a really good attentive hearer. So there is one bird being described in the scriptures called chatak bird. I don't know like in which is the chatak word in like English, but it is said. Now there's a very unique feature about this bird is he never he never drinks water from anywhere except directly from the rain. So that is the quality of this bird. Only when it rains, he takes that water because it is considered pure water before it touches the ground. And as soon as it touches the ground, it's dirty. So this bird is so this thing that he will drink that water only if that water is not available. He rather choose to die but not drink water. So this is called the first class hearing. Like I want to hear only Krishna Katha, no other Katha, no other Gramya Katha, no politics, no nothing. If I get to hear Krishna Katha, I'll hear. Rather, I'll choose to die, but I'll not hear anything else. So that is the first class hearing. Now, second class hearing is compared to the Hamsa. Hamsa is like the swan. And we call the like great devotees, we call them Paramhams. Right? Because they're very expert. Hamsa has another quality, that swan has the quality. If you mix water and milk, he has that quality that he can separate out the water and the milk by design. So this is second class hearing, that they know to differentiate what I should hear and what I should not hear. So something which is not related to Krishna, which is not helping me to, advance in my Krishna consciousness, I'm not interested in that kind of hearing. So they're very, very careful. So this is second class hearing. Third class is parrot. Now, what is the nature of parrot? It keeps repeating. You teach one thing, we keep repeating. So that is also another quality of hearing. Not only just you hear, but you should repeat it. Otherwise, your Kaliyuga Buddhi, we know that how it is. Manda Sumanda Mathiyo Manda Bhagya Yupadrada. It doesn't stay even for a few hours. Right? So the best way to remember is when you hear, we can take some points, some notes, and then also try to share with others. Find some people. Or if you say nobody's there, nobody's interested, talk among the devotees. Or today, this point, that I like this point, and this is very nice. I want to try this. Something, talk something. like a parrot. Repeat something that what you are hearing. All right. So repetition is the only way. Many times people, when we keep talking to people, people say that because we read the book, sometimes we read Bhagavad Gita, but after closing the book, nothing is there. We forget everything. Right. So that is the reality of this modern minds. What is the way out? Keep repeating, keep talking. Or if you don't get to talk, you repeat to yourself. Okay, let me recall that what I heard, what are the key takeaways or something that I want to implement. Or just, okay, let me just write down my important points I want to later read. Some repetition should happen like a parrot. Okay. Now, the fourth item is fish. Fish also actually, not fish, actually, it is what do they call it? One who eats the fish, stand on the bank of the river. Crane, right? Yeah, yeah, crane. So crane has the quality, he's very, very focused. So sometimes crane is also actually in Hindi, it is called bagula. And sometimes people, like when you see some kind of a fake sadhus, they call them bagula bhagat. Like he's like a fake, posing himself as he's a great. So this crane, what he does is he stands on the water, on the bank, like meditating, closed eyes. But with one eye, very focusedly keep seeing when the fish is coming, because his intention is something else. Standing there as if he's in meditation, but his focus is somewhere. So devotee should be very, very focused actually. Not in a negative way, but we should learn how to be focused. So this fish, this crane, what it does, like sometimes, some small fishes comes and be standing there. It doesn't move at all. So then by seeing those fishes, they get confidence. Oh, it's no danger here. We can go close. And they become a little free and confident. They started coming closer and it'll be still standing. And then by seeing all the small fish coming there close with no danger, all the big fishes started coming there. And as soon as the right fish and the right size comes, immediately this crane attacks and captures one of the fish. So like that, a devotee should be very, very focused. One should not, all these kind of small things are coming, this thing, that thing. Don't get deviated. Unless you get the big fish, and that is Krishna. Unless you get, okay, Krishna is there, now let me just do something about this. All other things I'm not interested. So like that. So this is also another, so one should be very, very focused. Hear attentively. Not, one should not be sleeping in the class. Many times, devotee get a nice sleep in the class only. 1 hour class and they get very deep sleep and they feel so rejuvenated out of the class. Say it was very nice. But it was nice. Say I'm feeling so good. So after 1 hour of sleeping, you'll feel good on. Not that kind of sleeping. One should be focused. Why people feel sleepy? Because they are not attentive in the class. And then they get lost and they say this is boring and then they go to the sleep. So one should be very, very careful. Okay. One time actually Prabhupada was giving the lecture and one devotee, of course, because they are working hard day in, day out and he might be genuinely very exhausted. So he was sitting right in front of Prabhupada, he was sleeping, dozing off. And then he was like falling off this way, that way. And then Prabhupada actually told him, then better you sleep 12 hours, no problem, but don't sleep in the class. It doesn't mean that we should sleep 12 hours. And the idea is take nice rest, but don't sleep in the class because it's very important. Krishna Katha should be Pravishta Karna Randrena, it should go enter. If you miss that, and then, if don't hear the Krishna Katha for that day, that is considered a bad day. Right. So one should be very, very good. So these are all 4 good quality hearers. We'll talk about a little subsided or bad quality. So one of that quality is this wolf. So this, you see that wolf, they just keep making a lot of noise. In the night when everything is silent, suddenly they do and all that. They disturb the people. So this is one category of people. They just simply keep making noise. Meaning they themselves actually, they doesn't do anything. They just keep, like one time Prabhupada was giving the class in that early days. And this one hippie, he came in the class. And again in between the class, he'll getting up. Swamiji, I have a question. And his questions were all weird questions, like no meaningful questions. And it's creating a lot of disturbance to other serious listeners. And again, and this hippie, like you cannot, talk to them too much. And then Prabhupada said, okay, sit down, I'll answer after the class. No, I have another question. He was simply making noise with no real meaning. So then Prabhupada actually, indicated one of the disciples. He says, can you get me apple? And then he got the apple, and Prabhupada took the knife and apple while he was giving the class, started cutting the apple. And as soon as this hippie, he gets up, Prabhupada gives him, you eat apple. And he'll be like a little silent because he's eating. And again, he'll get up, Prabhupada cut another slice and then give him. So like that. So some people are like wolf. They simply keep making noise, right? With no real this thing. One time somebody asked Prabhupada when he was giving the class, Swamiji, have you seen God? Like, challenging, making noise. Prabhupada says, yeah, I'm seeing God, but you please sit down, you're coming on the way. Like Prabhupada was sitting right in front of the deity. So like that. So this is one category. They simply just want to ask some questions. For what? Because we want to look little, intelligent or something. There's nothing wrong in asking questions, but you should know why you're asking question. Okay, so that is one category. There's another category which is this is called Broon word. I don't know what is this Broon word, some word, but what they do is they are generally found in Himalayas. So they live most of their life there, but they don't adopt any practices of that particular area. They do whatever they want to do. So some categories are like that. They'll be coming to temple, they'll be hearing, they'll be doing everything, but they don't practice what they are hearing. They want to do whatever they want to do. They'll just simply come, do attend, and say, and all that, and no practice, no implementation. So not that kind of a here. And another is called, compared to the bull. Bull is considered very dumb. Dumb, like there's no discrimination. No discrimination means whatever comes, I'll hear. It's like a dumb hearing. We should understand from the scripture that from where, what is the right source we should hear from. So as Krishna explains, it should come from parampara, bona fide parampara, not some just, open some YouTube and just click on something and start hearing. Somebody is giving some lecture just like that. We should not hear that bull like dumb, right? And the last one is compared to the camel. Camel. So camel, what they do is they actually chew into this one thorns when they go to the deserts because there's nothing, and when they feel hungry, thirsty, so they doesn't have the intelligence, so they start chewing onto some bushes, thorny bushes, and and actually that the thorns actually goes when they chews, and it hurts. The blood start oozing out, and all of that. So this camel kind of hearing is these people, they miss out the real essence, and they chew onto something which is like the thorny, which will hurt you. So many people, when they read the scriptures, they don't really, they don't take interest in the real stuff, which is like the Krishna Bhakti, the pure devotional service. But they want to talk about all kinds of karma kanda, do this, do that, we'll get this thing, we'll get that thing, and all of materialistic things. After all these spiritual practices also, they're interested only in some material achievements. So like it is chewing onto some thorny bushes. It will hurt you. So like that. So these are some of the verses, some of the points that we wanted to talk about. That what kind of hearing we should do. So we're talking about this Navadha Bhakti Shravanam. Understood the benefit of Shravanam, from whom to hear, how to hear, and also before we close this point, we should understand whom not to hear. And also we should understand one more thing is the right attitude of hearing. So I know we are running out of time, but anyway, I'll just make those points. Whom to hear? Who's the right person to hear? I'll give you an example from Ramayana. The Supanka, she came and she started describing the beauty of Sita to Ravana. So now Supanka, what she is doing? She is doing Sita Katha, like Ram Katha, Krishna Katha, Sita Katha she is doing. But the result of that Sita Katha, what was the result? It instigated the lust in the heart of this Ravana. So if you hear from a wrong person, who is characterless, whose heart is not pure, and hearing from that person, it will give you the contradictory result. You're supposed to develop some love, some respect, some devotion for the Lord. it becomes something else. The same Sita Katha was spoken by Hanumanji or say Bibhishan, then Ravan probably would have surrendered to Sita Mata. But he heard from Supanga, and then Ravan became lusty. So we should be very, very careful that whom to hear from, not just randomly click something and start hearing, because you don't know that person and what will be the result of that hearing. So one should be very, very careful. So this is the example from Ramayana. Another example that we all know, that how the Kekai, she loved about Ram and Sita, but when she heard from mantra, then she got contaminated. So she was also talking something about Ram and something, but intentions were something different. Right, and we have the another example from Mahabharata, Dhritarashtra. Right, he's a blind person. Now, Dhritarashtra's good fortune was he was surrounded by two wonderful, great devotees who have been described in the Bhagavatam as Mahajana. So Bhagavatam explains about 12 Mahajan, 12 great personalities, great devotees of the Lord. Swambhu Narada Shambhu, Kumara Kapilo Manu, Pralado Janko Bhishmo, Vyasiki Balir Vayam. So these are the 12 Mahajanas has been explained. They are considered the topmost devotees of the Lord. And the Dhritarashtra was surrounded by two of them. Can you imagine that you are in association of some Mahajan? One was Bhishma Pitamaha. He is one of the Mahajan. Another was Vidur, who is actually incarnation of Yamraj. So Yamraj is actually one of the Mahajan. And then Yamraj only became Vidura. There is a story. So it's the incarnation of Yamraji. So now the Dhritarashtra, though he is surrounded by these two of this great Mahajan, but still he remained blinded. Not physically, spiritually, because he doesn't know how to hear. So sometime we might be in the close proximity of some great devotees. If you don't learn what is the right way to hear and right attitude, then despite being in that association, you'll not be much benefited. So I attend this class, I go to temple, I do this, I do that. But if you don't learn the trick, the art, then there's no advancement, spiritual advancement. Another example is given is, again, we have been talking about this, Prahlad Maharaj. So we know that how Narad Muni, Prahlad Maharaj heard this Bhagavad Katha from Narad Muni when he was in the womb of Kayadu, the mother. And actually speaking, Narad Muni is not talking to Prahlad Maharaj. He's talking to Kayadu. But who became the devotee? Prahlad became the devotee. But we don't find any reference that Kayadu became a great devotee, despite hearing from a pure devotee like Narad Muni. You see? So it's not about just activity itself. I'm going hearing, but there's a little more to it. What you should do after hearing. So there is this example is given, when if you collect some milk in a pot, if it is not processed on time, then you'll not get the desired or intended result from that milk. Milk will get spoiled. So there is a process. It's not just only collecting itself is good enough, but you have to process it. So you hear and you say, very nice, I wrote the point and all of it. Great. But process before it gets spoiled. Right. So the Kayadu did not process it. And then she did not get benefited by that. So then we have these examples of how not to hear. And then we discussed about, of course, Rukmini. She heard about Krishna and she developed the pure love for Krishna. So attentive hearing, great attention. And of course, Parikshit Maharaj is the great example of this hearing process. That 7 days and 7 nights, he was just sitting with rapt attention, hearing. And the description that he forgot about is hunger, thirst, nothing. And he started relishing and enjoying that Krishna Gana. So that should be the kind of hearing. Here what happens is like half an hour or 45 minutes is our limit in Kali Yuga. After that, you start feeling all kinds of things. Hunger, thirst, use washroom, everything you want to use. Right? So we should learn. We should develop that. Gradually, we should increase that ability, that capacity, the stamina. So like that. Okay, so anyway, I have many more examples, but interest of time, we'll just close with this. So this is what? So just the formula is this, that if you can remember, the 3 things you should remember about the Shravanam, we discussed a lot of things. So you should remember that you are your URA. You means when you hear, don't hear just neutrally. Try to understand it. If you don't understand, ask the question. If you don't again understand, ask again. If you feel, oh no, you feel a little shy sometime in the public, ask after the class or something. But make sure that you understand every point. Think that how I can understand better. Right? And then R means remember. Don't just understand and forget later. Remember. Remember, we discussed about how you can remember, that you repeat it. More you repeat, more you will remember. And then also not just remember. I remember, Prabhuji, last time you told in one class, an earlier class, I remember all the points. But after that, A means apply that. Something you apply at least, not the full thing. Something, one point. When we hear one class, at least there should be at least minimum 1 point. Okay, from today's class, today's discussion, today's hearing, today's Shravanam, this is 1 point for me that I really want to try it out. I want to implement this. Can be some simple thing. And that is what is the Shravanam, the real Shravanam. Okay, so I thought of discussing about 3 things: Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Smaranam. But I'm thinking now I should really cover now, or maybe we'll just take it for some other session. It'll be too much otherwise. People will forget. I'm saying remember, and they'll forget now only. Okay, any questions or any comment anyone has? Those are joining online. No questions, no comments.
So Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
So
right.
you gave the example of birds, right? Different birds, different properties, different levels of dedication or their behavior. Is there anything like if you are this bird, you are good, if you're that bird, you're not good? Because everybody has their own um,
Yeah, there might be
behavior.
different qualities, different people, different personality types, and all of that. It's absolutely fine. The only thing is we should talk about that my this nature is helping me to improve my Krishna consciousness, to get me closer to Krishna. If it is not helping, then rather I should choose to, refine it or to transform it a little bit better. So something which is favorable, any quality which helps you to become more and more fixed up in Krishna consciousness, great. Something which is, because we discussed earlier like 6 promises. So we talk about Sharanagati. So one of the principle of Sharanagati is Anukulasya Sankalpa Pratikulasya Varjanam. Which is favorable, we should accept, and something which is not favorable, we should reject. So we should understand that, some habit, some nature, some of my personality type, or something which is not helping me to uh, progress in Krishna consciousness. So probably I can just improve a bit, and otherwise also we can improve. So that is what I would say. Does that answer your question, Mataji?
Yeah, Prabhuji, thank you.
Okay. Any other question or any other comment? Anyone?
So, Prabhuji, I have one question. You said the example of Bhroon Pakshi, right? They will listen, but they will do what they want to do,
Hmm.
right? So, what I feel is like even though there are 9 ways to go forward in bhakti, but if somebody or you are like a Bhroon Pakshi, what's the point of listening? Is there a way that Bhroon Pakshi will become like a Hamsa Pakshi or some the first 4 examples, the better ones?
Yeah, we can become always. There is a hope, and there is always a potency in coming in the devotee association and connecting, and some blessings comes. So by nature, somebody might be like that, but then somebody can understand in that association, oh, I should not be like that. I want to improve myself. If we are not in the right association, we don't hear, we don't understand, and this is something not favorable. Then you don't ever attempt to even improve yourself. So coming in the right association through the right guidance, we can at least understand, okay, this is something which is not favorable. I need to improve myself. And then there is always a hope. So that is what we are hearing now. We can analyze ourselves, okay, which category I am in. Not exactly, but at least something we can understand that, okay, this is something favorable that in myself, something not favorable. Maybe I should try to improve, take some help, and like that. Okay, Mataji? Okay, any other last question? Anyone in person or online?
And they are hearing God's name repeatedly. That is also incarnation of God. So by hearing that, our heart will get purified.
Yeah, Krishna's name, Krishna's form, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna Katha, anything in any form, Krishna should enter. Krishna Prasadam, anything should enter. That will definitely help us. But more we can increase. We can chant also, we can read also, we can eat Prasadam also. You say, no, I like Prasadam. So that you can ask me anytime, I'll do this. But all this reading and chanting, you don't ask me. So still one can be progressing, but that progress will be little meager, slow one. So why don't you take something which is available in all forms? And because we don't have much time, we are not here for forever. We don't know. So we have to quickly finish this business of developing this Krishna prem. Okay. So that is why every time we chant, and we recommend everyone and request everyone to chant daily, not only in the sessions, but otherwise also daily please chant and read Prabhupada books. If it is like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, develop the habit of reading every day. That is important in the beginning. Okay. So let us now chant together.